Hi, welcome to Mi-Soul for another in our series of artist interviews. This time we have a huge UK talent, possibly an unsung UK talent, Joy Rose. Welcome to Mi-Soul.
Hi John, nice to be here.
I wanted to talk to you because you've been in the business quite a long time now, haven't you?
Yes.
When did you first start?
I started when I was 17, which was a long time ago.
A couple of years ago?
A few years ago actually, just like, maybe a decade ago. I was signed to Savage Records and I did a single for them.
And since then you've done all sorts of projects. You worked with lots of different artists.
Yes.
You've had your own solo stuff. You've worked in bands. So let's go back right to the beginning. Where did music start for you? How did you first start getting into music? Have you got a musical family or...?
Music started for me in the church.
Okay.
Yeah, most definitely. I was born in Birmingham and I sang in youth choirs and sang solo from a very young age. Yeah, I came to London when I was 16 and continued ever since.
I mean, was there a point when you thought this is what I really want to do as opposed to just singing in church and enjoying singing?
I think from school, I went to Birchfield School in Birmingham and it was a very musical school. So we actually formed a group called Soul Force and we wrote songs from the age of like 13. I was writing songs, we entered competitions. So to be honest, I kind of kept it for my mum because she wanted me to have a regular job like, be a nurse or something. And so from early teenager, being an early teenager, I knew that I wanted to sing for a living. And
so when did you first actually start to realise that? When did you first get your first break?
My first break was, it was when the Swiss company at the time, Savage Records, who later became Tam Tam Records, how did I get that deal? I might have sent it when I came to London at 16. I think I might have sent a demo to someone, and Bernard, the head of the label, heard the demo and really liked it and offered me a deal, single deal, and so I think when you get spotted at quite a young age and people are always wanting you to do things, to front things as opposed to do background vocals, and even if it is singing the lead in the choir, then you kind of realise that maybe you have something more than what you thought you had.
Mm-hmm. And so where did that lead from there? How did that then develop?
After that, I did an album with it was a group called Mi-Soul, and the album did quite well, Persistence of Memory. That was again with Tam Tam Records, and I was the lead singer for that album. And then after that, I got signed by Giles Peterson with a group called Perception.
And that was a big record, wasn't it?
It was a big... Feed the Feeling. It was quite a big sort of underground record. Feed the Feeling. We got an album deal with that initial single. We then released a couple of other singles, and unfortunately, the album got shelved, and went on to do other things. With Incognito.
So how did the whole Bluey thing come about? How did you hook up with Incognito?
I think Bluey, because Bluey was signed to Talking Loud Records at the time, and I think he heard some Perception stuff, and so it kind of came out of the Perception situation. So I think it came out of that situation because we were on the same label, even though Perception were no longer on Talking Loud Records, but it kind of made sense that I would do some work with Incognito.
And you sung on recordings and toured with them, did you?
Yeah, the first time I wasn't actually on the record. It was it was a long time ago. It was on 100 Degrees and Rising, that album, which did really well actually. I remember it doing quite well in the States. And so I was called to tour that album, to promote that album, which I wasn't on, and it was great fun because it was my first world tour. In fact, there's a story behind that album and touring with that album. I actually, prior to doing that tour, I'd been working with Jason Rebello, so it could have been the Jason Rebello project. Maybe Bluey heard from me doing that. So Jason and I decided we were going to take some time out of music. So he was going to go into a monastery, and I decided I wanted to become a nurse. So I actually enrolled, and that was the first year that nursing was going to actually be a degree. You had to go and study. So I got into, I think it was Ealing University, and I got in, and then it was like I got this offer to do a world tour with Incognito, and I was like, nursing or a world tour, because I hadn't done a big tour before up until that point, and I chose to do the Incognito tour, and I suppose I've not looked back since then.
So then that ended up with you recording with Incognito, and
yeah, I then went on to doing, oh my God, it's the albums, like having to remember the titles of the albums. Bluey's done so many albums, 35 years of of the band. Who Needs Love, was it? I think it was that album, the first album I did. That was a really good album actually, and that was when I did some writing, and I got, that was with Morning Sun, I wrote on that, and Can't Get You Out of My Head, that was another wicked tune. Another tune I sang lead for, I can't remember, but it was amazing.
So all in all, how long were you with Incognito?
Well, how long? How long was I with Incognito? I would guess and say about 10 or 12 years, on and off. But the first time I toured with them was probably over 20 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so since then you've been returning to solo activities. So you had a solo album a few years ago. So tell us about that.
Okay, The Rose in Me. It was very brave of me, and I think it's actually one of my, probably the biggest accomplishments that I've ever achieved in terms of like doing just being brave enough just to write some songs, produce the songs, and just put it out there. It's amazing, obviously working with the likes of Bluey and Sting, and being able to sing their songs, but to actually sing your own songs and to actually have people appreciate that and say, oh, I really like that song, and it brought me through situations and blah blah blah, that song Mama I really like. And that to me, as much as it's not been, quote, successful, it just means so much to me to be able to do that.
It depends how you define success, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So that's then led you on to want to do more, has it? So is this now the path you want to pursue, is your solo career?
Yeah, definitely. It's my dream. I feel like I've just begun. I know it sounds crazy, but it just gives me hope, and I hope it gives other people hope to kind of, as a singer, if you don't play an instrument, it doesn't matter how old you are, take up playing, you can get some chords together, you can strum on the guitar, and that's what I've been doing over the last few years, and it's just being able to be creative as opposed to waiting by the phone, you want to work with a producer and you've got an idea and you just dictaphone it, but to actually try and put some music around it and be able to kind of almost say, yeah, this is sounding good, this is the direction. Because I found that when I was like just not sort of putting music together, I would work with a producer, and then it would be like their dream and their sound, and then it would be like, okay, I know I can write a song, because I've been involved with songs that have done really well. But it's like, it's nice to be able to really put your ideas together. You might have a bass line together, you might have string ideas. So that was what The Rose in Me was. It was just me just kind of like, that was after not, leaving Incognito, and it was just me just getting everything out there, just like, oh, these are some songs, I love these songs, and I'm just going to get them out there, and it was something that I needed to do. Now, the collaboration I love, I worked with Jason on a really cool song on his album, which actually Jason's up for a MOBO. For jazz, best jazz act this year. So last year we wrote New Joy, which was on his album Everything But Look, and it's amazing working with people like Jason. Jason's on my EP because he's like a really cool friend. He's like my brother.
So clearly you're enjoying the creative freedom and creating your own sound and stuff. But how are you finding the other side of being an independent artist, which can be quite tough, which is self-releasing, distribution? marketing, all that sort of stuff. How are you finding that?
I have to be really honest. I am not good at that. I'm not good. It really does pee me off because I'm creative, and I know being a business person is creative as well. But in terms of like marketing and self kind of advertising, I'm not good. And I'd rather just be writing a song. I'd rather be in the studio, but it's something that I have to get my head around because this is a new era. And, with all the Facebook and Twitter and all that, you have to get with the program. And
do you have people around you who can help you with that sort of stuff?
My husband's really good. He's a photographer. He's an IT specialist. He writes data and all that. And he's good, but he's Mr. Logic as well. So, he's very creative, but he's very like, do this and do this. Like, why are you doing this? I'm like, I just want to write a song. I just want to, why do I have to do this? But you have to. You really have to. And that's what I love about the young people. My husband's always saying, work with young people. Why are you always calling all these old people all the time? Blah, blah, blah. Get with the young people because they're the ones that like really on Twitter. We mustn't underestimate the fact that they're really talented as well, but they seem to have grasped like both aspects of like just promoting themselves and stuff like that, which I just haven't. I did a session with Noel Gallagher, and it was an amazing session. And my husband was like, "Why didn't you take a picture with him? You should have put that on Facebook." I was like, and I just kind of like, it was a great session. I love the song, but I'm learning. And I'm going to get there. I really am.
So to where we are now, you've just released an EP.
Yeah.
There's a track, True Love, on there, which is blown up. It's getting a lot of support on airplay and stuff. So how did that all come about? Tell me about that.
So True Love was written, it was just before I went on the Sting tour. A guy called Mike Parlett, he's a saxophonist, and he was doing an album, and a friend of his, Luke Smith, was producing the album, and Mike wanted me to be on the album, and Luke was like, well, Joy's not really going to be on the album unless she can write on the album. So Luke and I wrote this song together, and that's how the track came on the album. On Mike Parlett's album, obviously it featured Mike because Mike is a saxophonist, a very good saxophonist, and it was his album, so he played on the track. But the song in itself, in its entirety, was Luke and I just getting together, came around my house, he had this idea. I was like, yeah, wrote some lyrics, melody, and a beautiful song, and I decided I wanted to kind of redo it and have it on this EP, so I just speeded it up a bit. Luke played on it, and just added some different, kind of dynamics in terms of, especially vocal, because I've got melodies, coming out of my ears like constantly, even while I'm talking to you, there's a song coming out of my ears. So yeah, so that was like just redoing the song. Just, the song was done great in the first place, but I had to redo it because I love the song so much.
So this is your own version of it?
This is my own version of True Love.
And as I said, it's really taken off. So what's next now? So you put out an EP. This track's doing well. What's the next for you? Well,
I've got an album. I have to release an album next year, which is it'll be the follow-up to The Rose in Me, because the EP, it's amazing because the EP, it's got like 5 tracks, because Wonderful's like, it's another version, which is the 5th track of the first track. Mm-hmm. So it's really 4 tracks really, but it looks like 5 tracks. This EP, it's something that I just had to do. It's got some new songs, some old songs, but the album is really like the follow-up album to The Rose in Me. That's going to feature some great musicians. I've got some ideas. I don't really want to let the cat out of the bag just yet.
So basically the EP is like a teaser or a taster for the LP that you've got coming?
Yeah, for the album. I've got some songs already written. I'm going to get some musicians, try some new musicians as well. Of course, I've written a great song with Jason Rebello. I want that to be a single. And that will be out next summer.
And where would you like this to all lead for you? What's the end game for you?
You know what? I just feel like, there's a lot of talent in this country, and I just want it to be recognised. As much as we may not have, the fame and the kind of international recognition as a lot of American artists. I just think that the talent that I have, that some of my peers have, it just can't be denied. So my plan is just to have my music heard by as many people as possible, and for British talent to be recognised and respected, really, you know, because, you know, there's some really, really good talent here. So that's all I want, really. I just want people to hear a song and say respect, you know, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, I'm
get
pretty,
the credit.
Yeah, just to get the credit. I'm happy. I'm fortunate because, as well as doing my solo career, I'm always asked to work with different people. I work with Billy Ocean. I do backing vocals for him, so I get to travel the world, and he's a beautiful person. The band's great. So, you know, that's my 9 to 5, and then I get to do me. I get to write my stuff. I get to put my stuff out myself without someone saying, I don't like that song, it's not, you know, make it, you know, it's nice just to be able to do that and not have an A&R person put you in a box and just say, oh, you have to do this because you have to recoup money, you know, for the advance that they've given you. Yeah. Right, this is my money. I'll do what I want.
Cool. It's very brave what you're doing, and I wish you all the best with it. Thank you for coming from to My Soul. We look forward to the album next year.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Good to be here.